Yeah, I think I'm pretty good to get a move on.
I'll go back to bed.
Out in the wild, danger doesn't always come from one place. It can be hidden in the dark, the silence, or even something watching you. From a sudden scream echoing through an abandoned campsite at night to unexplained lights drifting between trees with no clear source. These moments don't just feel random. When everything around you starts to feel off, do you stay and figure it out, or leave before it's too late? On the Creepy Travels channel, most of the creators' videos feature simple overnight trips in remote areas of the Cumberland Plateau. But during one trip, things quickly shifted into something more unsettling. On December 8, 2025, the original plan was to sleep inside his car. However, after realizing his hammock was still in the back, he decided to walk down toward a nearby creek and set it up there instead of staying by the road. As soon as he stepped onto the trail, a scream echoed from deeper within the woods.
Now we ain't having this. We are not having this. We are camping.
The sound immediately stopped him. Just minutes earlier, a car had been leaving the area as he arrived, which was unusual for such an isolated location. He dismissed it and continued walking, though he mentioned more than once that it felt strange to encounter anyone out here. While searching for 2 trees strong enough to hang the hammock, he passed old chair frames, abandoned backpacks, and scattered remains of what had once been a private campground. The site had been abandoned for years, and remnants of the old campground were still visible across the ground. After finding suitable trees, he set up the hammock and settled in. But just as things began to feel normal, the uneasy atmosphere returned.
Let's try this, people. Yes, that car come back. It's where you park at, walk down way out that way, but I just saw some at that rock bluff right there. He had a black shirt, and I know that when they was pulling out, the guy had a black shirt on. This guy looked like he had a black shirt on. Might come back for his screaming wife.
Before going to sleep, he walked through the old campground layout, pointing out collapsed tents, rusted sinks, and the remains of a small bridge. He also described where the shower area once stood, and where campers used to set up their tents before the place was eventually left behind. Years earlier, one camper reportedly woke up to something touching his foot through an unzipped tent. After that, people gradually stopped using the site. By the time he went to bed, everything seemed quiet again, and he expected only a light sleep while listening to normal forest sounds. But around 3 a.m., he suddenly woke up. He heard movement in the water and branches snapping nearby. It felt as if someone or something was moving around him in the darkness. The noises were not constant, but they occurred often enough to keep him alert. Each rustle and every crack made him tense, wondering what might be out there. Soon, the sound seemed to move closer, echoing through the empty campground. With work waiting the next day, he began packing his gear in the dark, still thinking about the earlier scream of footsteps near the creek and the man in the black shirt he believed he had seen twice. Deer usually did not give him that kind of feeling, but something about the noise left him uneasy. He left before sunrise, ending the night without any final incident, only the lingering sense that the place never truly settled. Sometimes sounds in the woods have simple explanations, but when events line up like this, it can feel different. If you heard those sounds outside your camp in the middle of the night, would you stay or quietly leave? On January 25th, 2026, one of the most unsettling wildlife clips ever captured was uploaded to YouTube. In the footage, a man stands in the woods near his home chopping firewood while his dog remains close by. At first, everything looks completely normal. The forest is still and nothing seems unusual. But within moments, the situation changes entirely. Without warning, a massive brown bear suddenly rushes directly toward him. The animal charges not just once, but twice. With only an axe in his hands, the man swings it forward, trying to scare the animal away. It is a reaction driven purely by survival with no time to hesitate. Somehow, the attempt works. The bear pulls back and disappears into the trees, leaving the man shaken but unharmed. Even so, the moment remains deeply unsettling because an encounter like this could have easily ended much worse. When an animal that large decides to attack, there is rarely a second chance. Situations like this show how quickly a peaceful moment in the wilderness can become dangerous. Sometimes instinct and timing are the only things that matter. If the bear had continued charging, would there have been any real way to stop it? Matthew Stone and his father were hiking deep inside Glacier National Park when they stopped at a remote campsite to rest. The surroundings were calm, almost peaceful, until the forest seemed to change. From the cover of the trees, two massive grizzly bears stepped into view. In an instant, the quiet break turned into a tense situation. Running was not an option. Any sudden movement could have triggered the bear's pursuit instinct, turning the moment into a deadly chase.
We're just playing. So yeah, I think I'm pretty good to get a move on sooner than later. Yep. Hey, bears.
Instead, the father and son remained still, carefully controlling their breathing and movements. The grizzlies moved closer with slow, deliberate steps. They did not show immediate aggression, but their sheer size made the situation far more serious.
Hey, we're good. We're good here. We're good. Hey there.
They sniffed the air, their heads shifting slightly, watching the hikers with sharp, focused eyes. The atmosphere felt heavy, as if every second carried weight. Keeping their voices low and steady, Matthew and his father addressed the animals not to interact, but to signal their presence in a calm and non-threatening way.
You're just curious. Just slowly, don't go towards them. Hey, bears.
The bears stayed attentive ears, twitching their focus, locked in place. With caution, the hikers began to step backward, never turning away and never rushing. Every movement was controlled. The bears tracked their retreat with quiet curiosity, then suddenly lost interest and moved back into the wilderness. The entire encounter lasted only minutes, but for Matthew and his father it felt much longer. They avoided panic, read the animal's behavior correctly, and made it through a situation that could have easily turned deadly. Grizzly bears are among the most dangerous predators in North America, capable of running at high speeds and delivering powerful blows with their claws. The Stones' response, staying calm, maintaining awareness without provoking and backing away, slowly matches widely accepted bear safety practices. Even so, the bear's curiosity could have shifted into aggression at any moment. Encounters like this show how thin the line is between coexistence and danger in the wild. When you are in a predator's territory and it chooses to approach, are you truly managing your safety or simply relying on the animal's decision to walk away? The next video is from Camp Life Bushcraft, a UK-based outdoor channel centered on bushcraft techniques, wild camping, and realistic experiences in the forest. The channel is known for practical decision-making and for documenting moments where leaving a campsite may be the safest choice. This footage was recorded on August 20th, 2022, in a wooded area near the Creators Village in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Orgasm in a bun. Orgasm in a bun.
Yeah. Do like steak and pesto.
Oh, my steak's falling out.
We're going to eat and spend some time without you lot. Okay, so we've had supper, and tent that's over in that direction that we saw earlier. It's kind of freaked us out a little bit. It looked to me like a cheap old Halfords tent, and we were sort of saying it's probably someone maybe homeless or...
After discovering another tent already set up at their planned spot, the two campers decide to relocate to a different area beneath a large oak tree. They begin setting up a mesh hot tent using a ridgeline and a simple stone toggle, while also arranging a hammock and a chair. Drinks are poured, snacks are laid out, and at first the atmosphere feels calm and relaxed. A meal is prepared and eaten, and the mood remains steady as evening begins to settle in. As time passes, their attention keeps returning to the tent they had noticed earlier. Although it is only a short distance away, it appears worn and poorly equipped compared to typical wild camping setups. Normal forest sounds like rustling leaves and snapping twigs start to stand out more than before.
It's not been a comfortable evening. Keep hearing noises in that direction, footstep. Yeah, I was just chatting. I said to Carly, it's not quite dark, so if we want to head out, what are your thoughts, my darling?
Yeah, I think we should. I don't feel... And there was a really good vibe. Whether, I think you're right, that seeing that tent has just... There's noise over there, and...
I've been sitting here quietly, and I'm sure it's just a squirrel chucking stuff about in the trees.
Yeah,
but
or a deer. I mean, logically, it's an animal.
Yeah.
It wasn't your typical wild camp.
No. I saw the tent, I thought, well, I'll go and say hello, you know.
The idea that someone unknown might be nearby slowly replaces their earlier sense of comfort. After sitting quietly for a while, they begin to suspect the other tent is still occupied. Its condition raises concern, and faint movement along with footsteps seem to come from that direction. The woodland, which had felt peaceful moments earlier, now feels uncertain and unpredictable.
We'll settle tonight. I think it's better to call it.
Yeah. I've been out loads recently because I've been off work, so I'm not overly fussed.
It's definitely a squirrel or something.
Yeah. But, you know, Carly's on edge, so before it gets ridiculously dark, I think we're going to pack up and head home, sleep in our own bed, which I'm quite happy to do. So we're going to switch it off now and bail.
Van!
Sounds continue as branches break and leaves shift, suggesting activity close by. Not knowing whether the noises are from animals or another person makes it hard to relax, and the situation begins to feel unsafe.
We're out of the forest, and we are on the kind of main footpath through the field. And yeah, travelling through the woods at night is a lot.
As darkness approaches and the tension builds, they decide it is better to pack up and leave. The presence of an unknown person nearby outweighs any desire to stay, and remaining in the forest no longer feels like a safe decision.
I generally go out in the dark first thing in the morning. I totally agree.
Evenings are when the axe murderers are about.
But yeah, not having the dogs.
They carefully make their way back toward the village along a main trail. Walking through the forest after dark, knowing someone else is still in the area, heightens their sense of exposure. Every sound along the path reinforces that leaving was the right choice. Camping safety is not only about weather or equipment, but also about awareness and judgment. When something feels off, leaving early can reduce risk and protect everyone involved. If you thought an unfamiliar person was nearby while camping, would you stay and find out or leave before things escalate? The video comes from DB Interactive Media, a United States-based channel that shares a mix of content, including unsettling camping footage and recordings captured inside well-known amusement parks. The footage was recorded on September 9, 2015 in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest near the Mogollon Rim in Arizona.
All right, guys, this is going to be really weird. What the hell? Did you see that? Okay, I'm alone in the middle of the forest. I have wandered around all day. There's nobody here. I'm the only one. And I keep seeing these flashes off in the distance in the trees. Let me see if I can get you guys to see it. It happens about every minute. It's really strange. Let me see if you can see it. Hang on a second. I know it's dark, guys. I want you to kind of focus between in this. Oh, did you just see that?
The location is remote, densely wooded, and far from any established road access. The live stream begins with the camper already deep in the forest at night, completely alone. He explains that he spent the entire day traveling through the area and confirms that no other people are nearby. A small fire burns behind him, while elk calls echo faintly in the distance. Almost immediately, he notices something unusual ahead, brief flashes of light appearing between the trees. The first clearly visible glow shows up between two trunks, shining for a moment before fading out. As the stream continues, the flashes return, repeatedly appearing on and off in the same section of the forest. Sometimes the light appears higher, other times lower, but always within the tree line. The camper grows increasingly confused, emphasizing that he is alone and unable to explain what he is seeing.
Up there in these trees. Oh, did you see that flash? It looked like really weird, and I'm the only one out here. I'm going to shut this off. Let's see if you, because it keeps doing it. Let's see if you see it. So you hear the elk? I have no axe. Nothing. Now, did you just see that? Did you see it? Campfire going here, but see, I have this campfire roar in here. Okay, so hang on, back it up. I don't know if you guys can keep seeing this behind me when I'm doing this here. Hang on, there we go. Maybe you'll see it behind me. I've wandered everywhere in the forest here all day. I see every star in the sky. There's no clouds. There were earlier different areas. It's really weird, and I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher, and I don't know what it is. I just hear elk around. It's kind of freaky. All right, I'll turn it back again. Hang on. It is really freaky. I've never seen anything like it. Okay. All right, let's see if we can see it now. No helicopter. Oh, did you see it? It's over there in the trees. All right, here we go. I'm gonna shut the light off. Wow, there's 106 people witnessing this light. Hang on. This is really strange. That was kind of a dim in a different area. I've got the fire to my back here, so it's kind of hard for me to see in the distance, and maybe you won't see it as well, but I think you saw it a few times.
The forest remains quiet aside from distant elk sounds. He attempts to capture the flashes on camera, adjusting his position and angle, as the light continues to appear, vanish, and reappear at different points between the trees. He mentions that the area is near the location associated with Travis Walton's reported UFO abduction, later featured in Fire in the Sky. This detail adds weight to the situation as the lights continue flashing from the same part of the forest. Over time, the flashes grow brighter and seem to shift sideways between the trees.
I saw a little light to the right, just a tiny one. That looked like a lightning bug. But then a big flash over there. Huge flash. This is real. Oh, and it keeps moving. This is crazy. Flare, but I mean, How often would that flare keep going? And it's been doing it for like 20 minutes. Oh, there it went again.
He estimates the light is hovering around 30 to 40 feet above the ground, staying below the treetops without ever reaching the forest floor. He rules out common explanations such as insects, vehicles, aircraft, and lightning.
If you were out here alone, would you walk? Now it keeps looking like it's shining through the trees like a flashlight. It stays in the middle of the trees about, I'd say 20 to 30. Oh, that's like 30, 40 feet in the air. It's like flash, but it looks like it's moving, but it doesn't hit the ground and it doesn't go beyond to the tops of the trees. It just stays in the middle.
The light then shifts again, appearing closer than before. The camper frequently looks behind him and scans the area around his campsite openly, acknowledging how exposed he feels. He notes that he is unarmed and entirely alone. Elk calls continue in the background while the rest of the forest feels unusually still.
A bear in the tree about 30 feet up. And it's weird, it's localized in that area. It's really odd. I haven't drank anything. Do you guys see it? Oh, and that stayed lit longer.
At one point, a single flash lingers longer than the others. This extended glow clearly unsettles him. He pauses, focuses on the trees, and admits the situation is becoming genuinely frightening. After nearly 20 minutes of repeated flashes, he decides not to approach whatever is in the forest. He remains close to his campfire and vehicle, fully aware of how vulnerable he is in such an isolated area, with no explanation and no sign that the activity is stopping. The live stream ends without any clear answers. Being alone in a remote forest can make small, unexplained details feel far more intense, especially when there is no obvious source for what is happening. If you saw lights like this moving through the trees while camping alone, would you stay and watch or leave before things got worse? This video comes from Wildcat Adventures, a UK-based wilderness exploration channel. She travels alone into remote environments to wild camp forage practice, bushcraft swim, and explore untouched landscapes. Her content focuses on immersive solo survival isolation and the raw beauty of nature. It is December the 15th, 2025, deep within dense New Zealand bush.
Hi, I'm Kat, and today we're heading deep into the jungle of New Zealand. As I wandered through the lush forest, I couldn't help but marvel at the massive tree ferns all around me. But as I sat up camp and the sun went down, the jungle woke up, and suddenly the adventure became very real.
She arrives at a secluded campsite beside a quiet stream, surrounded by thick vegetation on all sides. She sets up her tent and repairs a leaking air mat with shoe glue, aware that even minor problems can feel much more serious when completely alone. As night falls, she prepares a freeze-dried meal of apricot chicken, followed by sticky date pudding and custard. She eats beside the river as the bush darkens and begins to feel more enclosed.
I don't know if you can hear that, but whatever it is, I have no idea.
Rustling breaks the silence. The movement sounds heavy and nearby. Kat pauses and listens, trying to determine what might be moving through the dense vegetation close to her camp.
The only thing I think to be worried about in these woods would be wild boar, because they are big and strong and could easily trample the tent. Put my food rubbish outside the tent just in case they can have that. Yeah, hopefully I'll be alright and I'll see you in the morning.
The noises return throughout the night, not constant, but uneven and unpredictable. Though tense and alert fatigue eventually takes over and she falls asleep aware that whatever made the sounds could still be nearby. Morning changes the atmosphere. Kat wakes to find her air mat completely deflated, yet the unease from the night begins to fade as a calm sunrise settles over the stream. If you heard those sounds outside your tent, would you stay calm or begin to imagine something worse? This video comes from After Dark Crew, a channel focused on exploring abandoned and forgotten locations. It is January 17th, 2026 at Hill 60, a coastal site that contains old World War II bunker systems.
We're out here at Port Kembla, and we're about to go explore some abandoned World War II bunkers and tunnels for you all.
There's ominous feelings that have been reported of soldiers, though there's no specific details on what soldiers.
And, well, this facility housed two 6-inch military, what do you call it, cannons? Weapons?
2 6-inch guns, I believe.
Believe it or not, they were actually only fired twice in history.
And just another tidbit about the guns, the actual steel that's used to make the cannons was recycled from older World War I warships.
The main design is in the shape of a H, and they in some of those rooms they used to store a lot of their gunpowder and ammunition and stuff like that.
Shortly after moving deeper into the tunnels, the camera glitches again and briefly cuts out. Although the recording resumes, the malfunction increases tension as the group continues underground.
What was that?
It's on camera there.
There's a mob. Turn off this flash. Was that SpongeBob, Dad?
Yeah,
As they proceed through the bunker network, a sudden unexplained noise interrupts them. A moment of panic follows as doors, shadows, and unclear shapes seem to appear in the darkness.
I almost pissed myself, mate. Mom's.
Jump out, like, I don't think Mum would be out, so I sees it.
Damn. It's crazy. My heart sunk, lad. I sat there. Nathan has never been more scared in his life. They put multiple people in these. You know what I mean?
Back in those days.
What's in that hole? I think it just leads to one of the other sides.
A sharp bang echoes through the tunnels, sounding close and forceful. One member reacts immediately, clearly shaken by how sudden and nearby it feels.
the tunnel that we were going down, warned me of the noise and I thought I seen lights flashing down the cave, and I absolutely pooped myself.
Toward the end of the exploration, they report seeing lights and movement deeper within the tunnels in areas that had not been marked with glow sticks. Combined with the earlier noises and the equipment interference, the group decides not to continue and begins heading back toward the exit. Old structures can cause ordinary sounds to feel louder and more unusual. Do you think it was just the bunker settling or something else moving in the dark?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.